I'm in the middle of moving right now, but I thought it was important for me to sit in front of a microphone for a little while because I'm just a little sick of what's going on right now in the media and around the world. People are pissed. It's pretty obvious. With literally millions of people protesting around the world, there's something going on. And they feel that it's the establishment that's doing it to us. Jobs are going away every day. The value of my dollar, the purchasing power, as they say, is a lot less than what it used to be. So what are we getting out of this? What are we getting out of the same people that got us into this? Which leads me to Ron Paul. He's the only one that's saying that we need to look at the Federal Reserve because they control the money. And if you want your money to be worth something, you need to be looking to the Federal Reserve. Oh, by the way, you remember when we loaned all that money out to the banks to bail them out? What was it? They claim it was $900 billion. Well, thank you, Representative Ron Paul, for spearheading the audit of the Fed. It turned out to be over $16 trillion. They bailed out banks in Ireland and Japan and France and Greece. Why is my money going over there? Really? As Ice Cube said years ago, and I think was probably the best question I've ever heard when it comes to foreign policy. If you have a light bill and your neighbor has a light bill, whose light bill do you pay first? Really? We have enough people here who are starving, don't have a job, have no place to live, and we're steadily giving our money away? No, it doesn't make too much sense to me either. He also talks about, again, foreign aid. He wants to end all foreign aid until we get our problems solved here. Why is that such a difficult concept for some people to grasp? Please, Sean Hannity and Rush Limbaugh and Michael Savage and Neil Boortz, answer that question for me because I don't understand. I really don't understand. I'm an average Joe. I'm a 40-year-old black man who's been supporting Ron Paul for a while now. This isn't my first election supporting the guy. Well, anyway, also drugs. How many more wars, or should I say, how many more failed wars do we have to fight? Iraq, Iran, and the war on drugs. I don't smoke anything. I never have. I don't drink. I never have. Alcoholism runs in my family, so I try to stay away from it. But I have no problem with someone else doing it. If you want to sit at home and drink a half a gallon of whiskey or smoke a half ounce of weed or whatever, if you want to do that in the comfort of your own home, have at it. I have no problem, so long as you don't hurt anybody. Now, if you hurt somebody, we already have laws on the books for that. Laws for possession doesn't make any sense. You're outlawing a plant. Now, I understand about heroin and stuff like that, which another reason we're in Afghanistan was OxyContin is made out of opium. And before we invaded Afghanistan, the heroin output of Afghanistan was 20% of what it is now. We have our Marines guarding poppy fields. Check it out on YouTube. Geraldo Rivera interviews Marine Colonel guarding heroin fields. It's there. So there's no denying it. But yet and still, we're continually locking people up. We're literally destroying people's lives because they wanted to possess a plant. Hey, but Ron Paul wants to end all that, which, yeah, he should. And coming from a black man, how many of my brothers and sisters are in jail because of drugs? I don't understand that. And again, those people that I mentioned earlier, could you please explain that one to me? Also, I'm a little ticked off at the Republicans themselves. They are how can I put this? Attacking one of their own. I'm not a Republican. I'm a libertarian. I'm a libertarian with a little L, which means I'm not affiliated with a party. It's a philosophy. Leave people alone, and they will leave you alone. And that goes for individuals and countries. Anyway, the Republicans are attacking Ron Paul because he is not one of them. He is not an establishment candidate. Newt Gingrich can't be too bright. Well, really, those supporters of his can't be too bright. This guy couldn't even get on the Virginia ballot for the primary, and now he wants to sue. He wants to sue the state of Virginia because, their rules were unfair. You knew the rules when you got into it, so we're not trying to hear that. Bachmann, Santorum, and Perry, they didn't even try to get on the ballot. And I heard from one of the people who was on the Virginia State Election Board say they didn't even submit a petition to get onto the ballot. So I don't want to hear anything from them either. The only two people from the GOP that got on the ballot was Romney and Paul. Romney, because I think the establishment wants him to be the candidate, only because they know that they can control him. It's as simple as that. He's as I think Rick Santorum said, Romney is a well-lubricated weather vane. He will blow whichever way the wind blows. I don't want someone like that as my president. I want somebody with principle. And there's no doubt that Ron Paul has principle. He's taken a lot of flack for these what are those things? Those newsletters. And the guy put his name on a newsletter but had someone else writing it. At the time, he was still a practicing obstetrician while he was in Congress. So his plate was pretty full, and he trusted the guy to put in there what was right. But he didn't do it. The guy didn't do it. And you know what? To Ron Paul's fault for not checking up on him, he should have. But the guy's not a racist. Again, I'm a black man who can see through when people label that racist on you. You try your best to try to defend yourself, but sometimes you can't. But you end up wasting a lot of your time. Thank goodness Ron Paul isn't wasting a lot of time with that. He's sticking to the issues. He's sticking to creating jobs, lowering our taxes, getting us out of stupid ass wars. How much money are we going to spend on these wars? And then the, as I call them, the chicken hawk party, which would be Romney, Santorum, Bachmann, Perry, and especially Gingrich. Now, Perry, he did serve in the National Guard of Texas. Okay, you know what? I'll give you that. But the rest of them never even wore the uniform. But yet and still, they don't mind sending me or you or our children to war when they didn't ever have a stake. None of their kids are in the military. None of them have been in the military. None of their kids in the military. They're not even around people in the military. I live in the military capital of the world. I served with pride in the U.S. Army from 89 to 93 when we had a real enemy called the Soviet Union who had tens of thousands of nuclear missiles pointed right at us. And I joined because they were a threat for real. They wanted to wipe us off of the face of the earth, like Nikita Khrushchev said in the UN. That's what he wanted to do. But these people now are afraid of a guy's running around in a cave. And they're willing to send more of our people, more of our children, our best and our brightest, over to another country for another lie, because these people are trying to get something to defend themselves with when they're completely surrounded by their enemies. Doesn't make any sense. Listen to Ron Paul. He's not crazy. He's not kooky. He's just saying something that these people don't want the rest of us to hear. What all they do is fear, fear, fear. We're going to make you vote for us, because if you don't vote for us, you will die. That's literally what they're saying. Doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway, thanks for listening or watching. And again, Ron Paul 2012.